Hello everyone, my name is Richard Yeager and this is Cam.
Hello.
We're doing a small interview today of some of the great sales that he's done in the past few months. He's seen it all from small to big size contracts. I'm going to take over a little bit today for Bob since he had some dental work done, and it's a little bit easier for me to talk. And so I wanted to talk to Cam and introduce Cam for just a minute. Cam's works in the Oklahoma City Edmond You Build It office. He works with new contracts for the new clients that come in, the new leads that come in. They have all the little questions, and he's very patient with them and goes through and explains how the You Build It process works. What kind of contracts have you been signing the past few months?
I've signed everything from 1,300 square foot houses to 6,000 square foot houses, and $10,000, $15,000 remodel jobs up to $200,000 major remodel and additions.
Those You Build It or You Build It Plus, or You Build It, what kind of You Build It contracts?
I've got a variation of mostly are traditional You Build It, but then probably 40% are You Build It Plus.
And what do you find when they contact you, the people, what are they asking? What's the current status of the new leads that come in? What's on their mind?
What is You Build It? You know, they've seen our commercials, they've heard about us, they've seen us at home shows, they've seen our trucks, they just want to know who we are and how we can save them money and what we have to be different than anybody else. And
what do you tell them?
Tell them that's easy. You know, we're the largest construction consulting firm in the country. We have access to, more subcontractors, vendors, suppliers than any other builder around. And that, all I did was just, follow Bob's advice, watch the videos and learn the system. And I personally believe it's the best system out there, and there's really no reason why anybody should not use us, period. And I believe that. And so I just have to get with them and see what their needs are. What are they wanting? Are they wanting a new house, or are they wanting to stay in their old house and remodel? But why? If it's cost reasons, sometimes we're able to build them a brand new house for what they could put into the old house. So I mean, you just got to figure out what they want, and then then we figure out what avenue we need to push them down to help them along.
When how many interviews have you had in one day?
I think the most presentations I've done in one day was either 8 or 9, but the most contracts I've ever signed in one day was 7. That was a pretty busy day.
Did you feel rushed to keep them going?
Oh yeah,
pace up?
It was one thing after when I got out of one contract, my next people were there to go to the next contract, and I had Alan doing the plan and manual presentation. I had Keegan helping keep everything organized. I mean, I couldn't do it without him because I'm so busy. I averaged probably 3 presentations in a day at least. So with him helping keep me organized and making calls, it's just typically a day for me is a good day. I try to average 2 to 3 presentations and 1 to 2 signings, and then that might include a ballpark or a visit to our spec house. So it's pretty slammed right now.
During the sales process, it's usually good to have a pace, but when you're in a hurry, you're trying to jump to the end. How did you manage that?
I mean, it's just the people, you have to figure out what they want again. I mean, some people, they're in an extreme hurry. You got to find out, what their goal time frame is. And I mean, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So we have to just kind of tone them in and say, hey, this is going to be a process. We're going to have to plan it out for a few months, and we're going to need 6 to 8 months for construction. I mean, so you have to let them know that it's a long process and there's a lot of variables, which is very scary, but we're there to help them the whole time, between me helping them through the planning part of it and my field guys out in the field doing it. I mean, just had to let them know that they're covered, and we've done it 14,000 times, so we've got it down pretty good, and just the confidence that we can bring is something that is immeasurable. So,
when it comes to asking for the money part of it, how do you do that?
Typically, they've already know what it's going to be because I've went over how much it is during the presentation, what our fees consist of, and let them know. And then, you know, our system is so good and everything, and we have so much to offer. I mean, I just typically have them get pre-approved. Well, you know, first off, they call in, we schedule a presentation, they come in, we spend 1.5 hours to 2 hours going over their project, explaining to them exactly what we do and how we can help them get to that next level. And then typically the next step is to have them get pre-approved for a lender, and then as soon as I get a green light from the lender, pre-approval letter, they call me, or my lender CCs me what's going on, and I call and tell them, congratulations, let's go ahead and schedule a time to come in and sign a contract and bring me a check. And so we go through the contract. When it's done, we sign it, I go, if you'll grab me a check right quick, I'll go make copies to put in your manual, and then wait on them to hand me a check.
And they write it right there.
They write it right there.
And then they're started.
That is the start of the planning phase. We hit the ground running at that point. The wheels on the whole train just start moving. So, and then we basically have the next hurdle to get over. We have to have our design. So at that point, we get them with a custom designer typically that day. When I sign them, I have a designer there to have them get started on the plans. 7 to 10 days later, we should have a rough draft budget to do our first budget meeting, and then we go from the budget meeting. Sometimes there's 2 or 3, 4 of those making changes with the designer, but then we go right into spec, and then as soon as it goes from spec, we get their budget, we get their plans, we send them to the bank, and I talk to the lenders daily, and so I'm trying to push things through the bank. So I mean, we literally help them with every step.
I'm curious, I've never actually been in a presentation before. Do the people bring notes and take notes with what you're saying?
They do. They take notes. I've had a few, you know, even record me during the thing. They've asked if it's okay to record, because I go over a substantial amount of information between my planning manual and how it works, all the way to the construction side and how it works and how to use the manual. So some take notes, but I also have a take-home brochure that I send with them. It's a dream home planning guide, and on the back I take notes for them at the end when I go through our fee structure and everything. That way they have that to take with them, and I'll put and I draw some pictures showing some different things as far as you know, just from the value engineer design method that Rick, you know, wrote and everything, about the corners on the house, how it affects cost to build, about how you know, especially in Oklahoma, basement going down is more expensive, going up is less cost to build if you utilize bonus space. So I mean, I take some little bit of notes for them to send with them, and then our take-home brochure is a really nicely put together summary with full color pictures and everything, so it goes through and answers. If they have questions, it has the 5 stages of planning, it has the 27 phases of construction, so just a little reminder whenever I send them home.
Do you have notes, or do you?
Yes, I take detailed notes. I have a client profile questionnaire that I fill out and get, you know, their basic info, all their, you know, just pertinent info, name, contact info, email, address, whether it's a new home, a remodel, major addition, the size of it. Typically, I mean, I spend 30 minutes typically before we even get into the presentation, just visiting with them and talking about the project. So I'll have, you know how many kids they have, how many bedrooms they need, you know, what their situations, if there's special needs, if they need it to be handicap accessible, all the different things about it. And I keep a detailed sheet, because I actually submit that over to my lender, so he knows exactly what's going on with the client, how much their goal budget's going to be, what square footage, if they have land, if they don't have land, so that way it makes the bank transition even easier.
And what is the bank transition? What does that entail?
It tells of whenever we go through the presentation, based on what they're telling me and what their needs are, I'll know which lender is going to be appropriate for them. So I send them the lender information so they can call him. But as soon as I get done with my presentation, I go in and input all those notes from the presentation into Quickbase, and then I cut and paste that into an email to my lender and can give him the contact information, email, and phone number. And I mean, and I've let them know that time is of an essence, you know, and time kills deals. So typically within 10 minutes of receiving my email, my lender will call and touch base with them, and then he'll email them over the info packet that they need to fill out for pre-approval. So I mean, I've had people get with him, be pre-approved within 2 hours, and be ready to come back and sign a contract. So
Quickbase helps you?
Quickbase is a good tool to help us keep everything organized and stay on track with our database, and then scheduling and all that.
How does it help you? other than just the initial? How does it help you through the long term?
Quickbase is good because it has a tracking system in it to where we input every time we have a connection with the client, whether it be a call in, an email, a text message. We input that in, and so with my schedule now, I mean, originally I did all my calls, I did all the scheduling for presentations, I did all the follow-ups, I did all the presentations, I did all that. And whenever I got to the point I was so busy with presentations, have an assistant who actually does a lot of the scheduling. So if I talk to someone, I can input my notes, then when Keegan has a reminder pop up on him from Quickbase to call them, he can go reread the notes that I put in and know what he's supposed to be calling them about. And so it actually has a reminder pops up on the day I set to have them call. So it's actually a pretty cool system.
Do you see that the numbers of these meetings and days like that when you're slammed, you see those increasing?
Yes, I mean, it's basically been busier and busier and busier every month now for 6 months. And I thought after last month doing 18 contracts, and I was like, I hope we don't get 3 the next month, but I'm already got 5 this month and another one scheduled tomorrow and 3 more next week. So it should be another 10 plus month.
What do you think? Is it the economy, or what is it that's driving this, or is it Keegan?
It's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, a combination of the system itself. And to give a lot of credit, I mean, I work in the office with my mentor who takes care of me, has actually really sat down and helped me through the system, helped me understand the importance of the system, and just trying to emulate what he's done. I mean, I'm not redoing anything or doing anything different. I'm just doing what Bob tells me to do, basically, as far as the system, how to react, how to use the banks to help you, how to use the spec house. Keegan's done an excellent job of keeping me busy, and then just, I have really good field guys too that I believe in their work, and I know they're going to do, because I'm selling a product in a system, and then they're the ones that are the system that's helping make it do. So I mean, we're just surrounded by a lot of good people up here, and Bob's taken a lot of extra time working with me, and sometimes I've had presentations that were going tough or really good, but I needed him to come in and close, and I mean, he'll pop his head in, and I mean, I know that's a luxury that most people aren't going to be able to have, is to be able to have him actually in person, but part of it's just loving it. And I mean, I love the system, and you also can't be afraid to put in extra hours, because if you want to sign 10 plus contracts a month, you don't work 40 hours a week, that's what you do, then you start your other work. So
what are the easiest and the hardest parts of the sales for you, Bill?
First off is just like in any sales job, is just asking for the check. You have to get comfortable asking for the check. And
how did you do that?
I mean, you have to really fully believe that the system is worth what you're selling it for, if not more. And that people are, you're selling them something that you can feel good about selling them, and you're going to help people. And secondly is just, I don't know, that's really the main thing.
Have you had anybody say no a few times before they say yes?
Oh yeah, I mean, people, and that's the deal is with what we have, and this is what I try to explain to people is, it's not a pair of shoes we're selling. It's not even a nice car. You walk on the lot, you might spend a day or two, and then you buy the lot and you walk away, you never see this. This is a relationship business that we're in, because we're consultants and we're supposed to help people. And you have to understand, every single house that we do, even though I have about 50 houses going right now, every single house that I have going is the #1 most important thing in that person's life at the time, period. And the day you forget that, you need to quit being a consultant, because it is a big deal to us, but it's even more of a big deal to them.
When you say big deal, what do you mean?
I mean, a big deal to someone is whenever they have lived and had been married for 20 years and saved up, and they finally are to a point where they're going to be able to build a custom home, and they're putting their whole life on the line, everything. That is the most important thing in their life. And if you just treat every client as just a client, and you don't really invest in them, and so when I explain to them is, this is about a year-long relationship you're about to enter into. So this isn't something that, you're going to write us a check, you're not going to see me. No, I'm not going to be on site. Out of all the projects I have going, I don't go on site. I have field guys for that, but they know I'm a phone call away, and they know we're all here and on a team to help them. And I explained to them that it's not one person up here that's going to be helping you through the whole thing. It's our whole team, and where it's a team effort, we all pitch in and help out for the same goal, and that's to build as many houses as we can for people.
When you arrange the the presentation, is it important to have the significant other there?
Yes, it is to an extent, but there's certain situations where they aren't, and I've had situations where I've done presentation for the husband and never even met the wife until we've scheduled a signing. And so, and part of that deal is just it's important to have them both there, but there's some situations where there's one. I've actually done a presentation for a wife and signed them, but the most of the time you want both there. If not, you at least do enough to get them really sold and schedule a time to have it. Because I don't mind doing 2 presentations for somebody. If it's going to get us a contract and it's a solid lead, I'd rather do 2 presentations and solidify them. Because if they come in and see me more than once, they're really, really interested. And also utilize our spec house for that. Because if they're really interested, and a lot of times one of the main things is local builders are typically $140, $150 a square foot to build a nice house. But we can build that same house, or we can assist you in building that same house for $100 a square foot. And so when I tell you can get a really nice house for $100 a square foot, people don't believe me. And so I go, would you like to see what $100 a square foot looks like in real life? Because we have a spec house that we built for $100 a square foot, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And so then they realize, wow, these guys are for real. When you say you're getting stuff at cost, you really get it at cost. When we say our fee is really $6.85 a square foot, it really is $6.85 a square foot. So people don't understand the level that you can achieve when you do it that way. And so that's a pretty amazing close too, because a lot of people will just go, wow, if I can get anywhere close to this for $100 a square foot, I'm in,
How do you position yourself in one of these meetings when you meet the people for the first time? I see how you're dressed. Are you as comfortable and relaxed as you are with me, as you are with them, or do you sit and act differently? How is your face? How is your body movement?
I try to be, I'm very relaxed. I'm a country boy, man. I'm a good old country boy. I'm pretty relaxed, but part of the sales process is the mimicry. And in most situations, I'm extremely relaxed. And like I said, we set the aura. We have the infomercial going. I actually have a book out with a bunch of projects in it. I let them come in and hang out for about 5 minutes and kind of get comfy. And then I come in and introduce myself. And I'm laid back, but if they're intense and they're really asking, I'm intense too, and we'll get into it, and then whenever they finally, it takes a little while, usually guys especially, first they think you're just some sales guy, or you want to come in, you're trying to sell them something, but literally I come in, I just start talking to them and ask them what they want to do and everything. Just if he starts talking about hunting or fishing, we might talk about that for a little while, but then whenever they finally relax and I see that the glass break down around them, and then I can relax too. So but yeah, I just get to know them. I really do, and that's the main thing, is I just want to help a lot of people.
So you keep a lot of eye contact with them too, or how do you use your hands a lot? Or?
I do. I'm very visual. I use my hands a lot, and then during the presentation and throughout the thing, I've usually got planning manuals and different things and stuff I'm flipping through and showing, and so I use my hands a lot. But if it's someone that's really sitting there and they're timid, and I can kind of pull back a little bit and just be a little softer. And what I've learned throughout, just with all my sales training throughout my career and with Bob, is you just have to make the other person comfortable. Most people are comfortable with what they are. And so if they're intense, I'm intense. That's just basically from situation to situation, from presentation to presentation. Even though the presentation, the meat of it is the same, it can be a little different for that person. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So are there any other tidbits that you'd like to share with others about your sales success?
Yeah, for sure. The main thing is just really utilizing the system. And what I mean by that is watching the sales training videos, study those, just utilize all the resources that we have, advertise. You can't have leads without advertising. Once they come in, you got to have a system in place as far as sending out constant contact. You need to be calling them. You need to, they're in your system, they're in your database. You need to call and follow. There's a system in place just for call structure. The call structure is, first contact, you call them back in 2 days. Second contact, you call them back in 3 days. Send in DVD with the info kit in it to them, so that way they have, and then we have multiple emails set up. It's a systemized approach that's in your training videos. So, it tells you exactly what to do it. So, if you want to be successful, just watch the videos, follow the system, and believe in yourself, and just believe that you're here to help people.
All of the training videos are located at training.ubuildit.com. Thank you all for watching.